Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got quite a nice rack, balanced. I've got the expert score. It looks close to a bingo. I can't see a 7. There may be an 8. Well, my opponent's changed. So, what to do here? Do I have a 5-letter play which gets the X doubled? It looks like there ought to be. I have quite a few vowels to play with. Taxor and taxol are good, but they don't begin or end with an X. I think a play which gets the X doubled is likely to be the best on this board. Well, I'm not seeing it. I'm just considering each letter in turn as the beginning letter for a 5-letter play ending in X. I can't see one beginning with X. Just not seeing it. Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing is locks. Although this is leaving an equal number of vowels and consonants, I don't think that retaining the L helps this rack. And L stops my opponent scoring by front hooking ox. Well, that's the risk of keeping an equal number of vowels and consonants, that you then have a vowel-heavy rack. However, these are all bingo-y tiles, so there could be a 7 here, and I'm sure there are going to be quite a few 8s. Ah, there is a 7. There's Arietta. Arietta. Does that play anywhere? And I don't think Arietta's got an anagram. Well, Arietta does play. However, my opponent is going to play in and around locks, so the board openings will change significantly once he plays. Locks takes an F in front and nothing after it. At the moment, the best spot for Arietta is beginning under the L of locks. Right, what's left? Well, probably nothing that I previously had. What there is column 11 down onto the S, which is good. There's row G, making Allah. And I think that's it. XI only takes an S after it, so that scuppers a lot of parallel plays. Now, does Arietta's have an anagram? And in particular, is there a double-double in column 11? Well, ooh, very close. Arietta's aristate, which is going to be better. I think Arietta's is just. So, Arietta's aristate, is there another anagram? Possibly. Okay, find out later. Arietta's slightly dangerous because the Z and the J can go in front of the A. But if I play aristate, I'm running the same risk. Not a good pickup. W and 2 U's. However, balanced between vowels and consonants. I think QB is good. K-U-B-I-E. Which would help to sort the rack out despite leaving WU. That just gives an indication of just how bad this rack is. Now my K can go in this triple letter spot to the left of the A, where I noted the Z and J could go. So I've got Keb retaining UUW. Wow. Well, my opponent has taken that spot. I don't have anything that goes after Tsar. Tsar takes nothing in front. Or he takes a K after it. I'm 10 points behind. Now, what about running across row H from the A of Arietta's to the triple word square? Can't see anything there. So is there anywhere for QB? No, there isn't. So is this a changing rack? I think it almost certainly is. It's just going to be way too hard to sort out. I think I'd need to score in the 30s to justify keeping playing rather than changing, and I can't see a way of doing that. And I'll retain just the E. That looks a little better. I've got the ING ending. Through a U, I would have unhealing. Henling, not good. Now, there's a floating T, and that's pretty much it in terms of single floaters. Can't see a bingo through that. I've got R-ing, A-H-I-N-G, which will sort the rack out nicely. Scoring well, splitting up the duplicate N, and playing off the G. I've got a G for going after Tsar. So I could play Gel. Scoring quite well, but retaining the duplicate N, not ideal. Irons takes a Z in front, and possibly an L. And possibly not an L. Not sure on that. Now, what about the two-letter sets? And I'm thinking in terms of bingos. So LA and OR look promising. So if I take out ING, I'm left with HELN. Well, can't see anything through either. Now, I hope my opponent will regard this area around the Z as being the more dangerous and leave my R-ing spot alone, because R-ing is significantly better than anything else I've seen. Great. My opponent's clearly struggling, only 15 points, and I am behind. Actually, but not by much, only 24 points, and that's going to change. Now, do I have anything through the I of Ayuri? Don't think so. No. So, R-ing for 39. Not great. Slightly vowel heavy, and I can't see any bingos here. Although, and there are a few floaters to consider, so I mustn't dismiss the possibility of a bingo. I'm just wondering if unhealed is good. At the moment there isn't a floating D, but were one to become available, I may try that, although I don't feel great about it. So anything through the G, can't see anything. Can't see anything through the N. Or the I. Okay, well, I've got the H for score. I'd like to play off the U. So a play of H, U, E somewhere would do that. That doesn't quite work across the top of R-ing. I have a 15-point lead. I don't have anything to go after Tsar. I'm just wondering if I have a non-bingo double-double. Can't see one. Ayuri takes nothing in front of it, or he takes an R, S, and Z after it. Well, the Z's gone. Still both blanks to come. And only 60 tiles in the bag. And that would be an argument in favour of increasing tile turnover, other things being the same. Just looking again at the T, I think that's the most likely floater for a bingo, but I can't see one. La takes an A in front. I've got an A. Oi takes nothing in front. So at the moment I've seen absolutely nothing, which is annoying. I think unheal is good, but there's nowhere for that. Okay, only 23 points for my opponent. That's good. He's not zooming away. We're only 8 points between us, so pretty close. And my opponent's provided a hotspot in column 8. So I think hold is good. I'm not too bothered about the duplicate E. I'm glad to get rid of the U. And I can't see a way of getting a better rack leave. 30 points is a good score. These floaters aren't particularly useful. Yeah. I'm just wondering if there's a 6-letter play. Well, I'm going with this. I can't see a better play. Quite a nice rack. Although I can't see a bingo here, I've got the J, which is a good scoring tile. And it's reasonably synergetic, and if I played off just JEE somewhere, then I would have a pretty decent rack leave. I've got Gin onto the N. That leaves a fairly unbalanced rack leave. 2E's not a problem. 3, slightly problematic. I think hold takes an S. Still 2 S's and 2 blanks to come. I'm only 20 points ahead. This board is fairly open. My opponent could easily have a blank. And the bingo could be decisive in the outcome of the game. So, what have I got that's better than Gin? Onto a T, I would have Egypt. T of Arietta is no longer available. I'm just looking at the Z to see if I can score using the Z and the J, and I don't think I can. My J can go in front of the A, but I can't see a parallel play. I can't see anywhere for G, which is a shame. Now I'm wondering about Jenny ending IE, but I'm not sure of that. In fact, I think it's not good. I've got G-ing onto the G, which has some merit. It leaves a decent rack leave. It turns over a lot of tiles, which is good in the context of 2 blanks still being out there. The only downside to that play is really the score. Only 15 points. It does stay available. My opponent plays an S fairly cheaply, 29 points. So he may have the final S or one of the blanks. Difficult to say. Nothing I've got... Well, I was going to say nothing I've got goes after Stowe. I think it does take an N, which I have. But I want to play off the J. Where can I do that on this board? At the moment, I've only seen G-ing. Now, do I really have nothing other than G on my rack? 14 minutes left. Because I could have a play running underneath some of the tiles in Ayuri. Well, maybe under just the I. Can't see anything. I can't see anything ending J, something A. Can't see a 5-letter play ending in L. I've got Gil as a 4. I would have Conji through an O. No O's available. Onto a T I would have inject. Well, I may be missing something. However, this move has merits, as mentioned earlier, plus it's taking out the G and obstructing the N. No blank. But a fairly balanced rack. This Eye of Ayuri is looking quite hot now. It's the best floater. Otherwise the board is fairly tight. Great, opponent challenges, he loses 5 points. I've now got a magnificent lead of 13 points. I'm really quite concerned with only 44 tiles left and 2 blanks, especially after my opponents played off the S fairly cheaply. Because this rack isn't good enough to be able to hit back immediately with a bingo. I certainly haven't seen any 8s with it. I've got the AGE ending, the ED ending. So although this rack looks fairly good, no bingos have jumped out at me. So I'm wondering about playing off a number of tiles and interfering with the Eye of Ayuri. Okay, my opponent's done that. Vita takes an E after it. My opponent's provided 2 floaters. Can't see anything with the A. What about the T? Can't see anything with the T. So the V has blocked column 4 plays, but there are a ton of E's to come. So I'm looking in row N, but a play in row N, if it goes beyond the end of Vita, will open up row O. So unless it ends in a C. So I could play side, which has some merit, 23 points. Floating C and I, not massively useful. The C is obstructing a play in row O. Rack leave, not ideal. 40 tiles left. Well, still a bunch of vowels, so I could run into problems. But if I play something like caged, then I'm opening up row O. Although I am getting 12 more points. I think I'll go with the tighter play. I don't think I need those 12 points. Rather, the 12 extra points doesn't justify creating a bingo lane that I suspect my opponent may be able to take advantage of, since almost 2/3 of tiles have gone and no blanks. Not good. Still haven't drawn a blank. And my lead is only 20 points. Now the T of Viti is looking like the best floater. Not sure there's a great play I can do to take that out. Certainly any play through the T could open up row M if it goes 2 squares beyond. I've got no scoring tiles. Still the queue out there. I've got Agori as a 6 on my rack, which would achieve tile turnover, but there's nowhere for it. Now I do have an R for going after Oi. So I could play Raga. Only 17 points. Well, next goal wins, I think. Wow, opponent's changed. He's changed 5. I wonder what 2 he's kept. I wasn't expecting that. I'm just wondering if I've got a play making Zag coming down column 12. I don't think I do. There are no 2-letter front extensions to G-ing. So what about killing off this T lane? What about a play coming down column 4? Well, that would open up column 3. I could just play Goa, which would, well, 17 points and keeping 3 A's. That is completely rubbish. Don't do that. I don't like Raga. However, it does obstruct the T. does obstruct the T, so that gives more points in its favour. It does open row L, but only for a 3-tile overlap. However, the 3 tiles are quite friendly for an overlap. Rackley, pretty awful, 3 vowels. Orage is a nice 6 at a play, but nowhere for that. Only 1 A to come, which is good. 3 O's. Well, and a ton of E's. So this is a vulnerable Rackley. 9 minutes on my clock. I'd like to play off 1 more tile. I don't think I can do it with a play beginning R or ER. Is there really nothing better through the T? Can I play off 5 tiles through the T? I'm going with Raga. I haven't seen anything better. Balanced, but no blank. I would have modulate through a T, but not through either of these T's. It would be further to the right. I can't see anything through the N, and a play through the N could begin with N or start with a vowel ahead of it. So if unloamed were good, that would play, but it's not. This looks fairly bingo-y, but I don't think there is a bingo here. Not a 7 and not an 8 with the floaters on this board. I've got the M for score. I'd like to get rid of the U, even though the Q's unplayed. Only 32 tiles left. Still nervously waiting for this, for the 1 or both blanks to appear. Rackley, sorry, my lead at the moment is only 37 points. So a bingo would switch that over. My opponent hasn't bingoed. He's only got 12 points, which is good. He hasn't provided any floaters. He's blocked a couple of existing floaters. The T of Viti is still available for bingos ending in S. The 2 blanks mean the remaining tiles are quite bingo-y, especially with the E's still available. Now I'm thinking about playing in row M. Can I play a lot of tiles in this spot? AN takes an A after it and an E, as does the P. So let me just put these, well, and an O could go here. That's not helping. So I'd like to play off the U. I could do that. I was going to say with Odium, but that doesn't work. Gosh, only 7 minutes on my clock and 29 tiles left. This could be quite tricky, especially if bingos aren't going down. Just can't see a decent play. What about loamed? It keeps the U, but it turns over a ton of tiles and it scores a lot of points. The only problem with this is that it might not be good. Let's find out. Just waiting for this to be challenged. I would challenge it. If it stays on, I've got Bolitas, and, well, if Hall takes an S, I'm going to play that. Gosh, I'd overlooked that S ending, but I haven't had an S up till now. So I will try Bolitas, which I think is good. I would have Outbless onto an S. I'm still waiting for this to be challenged. Hasn't been so far. I would have Absolute, beginning with an A. Troubles through an R. Nothing through the T of Viti. Still waiting for a challenge to come forth. Nothing so far. Well, if my opponent bingos and doesn't block Bolitas and I can come straight back with Bolitas, I'm in a reasonably strong position because I've now got a 60-point lead. That's dependent on this staying on the board. If this comes off and my opponent bingos, then I'm not in great shape. I haven't seen an alternative bingo to Bolitas, and I've only seen one spot for that. The La hook of an A still remains available. And now Oya does take a couple of tiles in front of it, including a T. But I don't have an A for going in front of La. Just 6 minutes on my opponent's clock, 7 on mine. Still 23 tiles in the bag. Can't see anything through the C or the I. Great. Opponent leaves Bolitas available. Not great. Still haven't drawn a blank, although both could be sitting on my opponent's rack. I've got the Q. I don't have a U, but I have an I, so I can at least play... Well, I don't need the I, but I can play Chi above the I of side, and that takes out a couple of floaters. Stowe stopping access to the I of G-ing for a play of Chin and Chi. I do have Chi and Bai in row G, so I'm certainly not stuck with the Q, and Chi and Lai. Only one I to come, but both blanks. I've got a 130-point lead. That could be halved if my opponent bingos, but it's not going to be overturned in one go. And if my opponent does bingo, there's a good chance that it won't be through the I of side. However, I may not need to play off the Q straight away, given that if I retain the Q with the I, I've got at least 2 spots for it. It may be more sensible to concentrate on getting rid of some of the other clunky tiles, so a play of Bevy somewhere might be better than playing the Q. I haven't seen a Bevy spot yet. ENA not good, otherwise it could play in column 6. I think Vibey is good. So I have Vibey in column 5. I think that's spelled with an E. That does burn the I. However, it is setting up the I next to a double letter square, so it's still available for the Q. I would be leaving myself 2 spots for Chi to be doubled. So quite a tense endgame, but slightly less tense given the bingo I've just managed to get down. And my opponent is a lot shorter on time than I am. And in a worse state, given the deficit. Okay, con noted. Yep, I think that's good. Vibey still available. 7 tiles in the bag. No great new spots for the Q. Or for Bevy. So Vibey for 26. Finally, a blank. Now I haven't got the second QI spot for the Q to be doubled. However, I've got the blank. So yeah, I might, if my opponent takes this I out, I might have to use the blank to get rid of the Q. However, I'm 78 points ahead. The remaining tiles are pretty unbingo-y on an unbingo-y board. This row H quite hot, and quite a few high-scoring tiles left, so my opponent may be able to get 40 or 50 there. But I don't think that's going to be enough because I can definitely score with the Q. I don't think I have a bingo with this rack. And I haven't seen any great plays for the Q. Yeah, 48 for my opponent. So he's 30 behind. He's emptied the bag. So can I go out in 2? He's got 2 minutes left. I've got 6. Now, what about... I was going to say QUA, but UD's not good. No QIA plays or QEA plays. What about a play QU something something T? Don't have one. The reason I'm hesitating about just playing Q is I don't think I can go out in 1 with this rack. And I'd quite like to be able to go out in 2. I've still got 5 minutes left. So surely I can do a bit better than QI. Where can I jettison some of these R's? I nearly have QWERTY, not quite. Can't see anything beginning ZA, and I'm not necessarily thinking about burning the cube. My opponent can't go out in 1, so as long as I've got somewhere to play the Q next go, I can focus on my other tiles first. This W looks the most useful for playing through, but I just can't see a way of playing off a ton of R's. So I've got ERE down the bottom. I think I'm going to play the Q. 4 minutes on my clock. Or am I? Not just yet. I don't want to overlook a high scoring Q spot. What about through NI? Can't see anything. What about down through the I? Using the blank as a U. Is there really nowhere for queer? Well, I don't think there is. Nothing goes after net. 4 minutes on my clock. Well, I think this is a 1 game. Well, it may not be. May not be. I'm 30 points ahead. I'm going with G. I'm going to put my opponent under time pressure, I think. I do have the blank. But I haven't seen anything great. Now, I wonder actually if I could have played through the T using some of my R's. Anyway, I sort of blocked that. Can't see anything through the W, although it still looks a pretty useful floater. 30 points for my opponent. He's now just 22 points behind, but I don't think he's got an out. If he had a high-scoring out with this rack, I think he would be in a strong position. Just checking to see if he's got anything really high-scoring underneath the G. His U can go underneath it. So he could play up. 26 points. Now, I need to go out in 2. I don't think my opponent can go out in 2. I need to be sure that I can. So I can play ERE here. for 22 points. I can certainly go out with blank RR, or can I? Where can I go out with blank RR? Gosh, what a tight end to the game. $22 ahead is going to put me 44 ahead. I think the points mean this is worth doing. So I'm going with this. Probably not optimal. But I think there is going to be an out somewhere with this rack. So I've got ERR as a 3-letter play. EPA not good. Dare not good. Can't see anything through the W. I'm 44 points ahead. I have Raya. I have Raya, WRIER. Great, I have an out. And I have wrought onto the T. Phew, I do have outs. So unless my opponent's got something pretty amazing, and that would, well, he hasn't. 20 points for him. He's blocked Raya. But I have wrought for 3 points. Just wait for my opponent to formally end the game. He does. And the final score. 368 to my opponent. 403 to me. A winning margin of 35 points. So a very tight game, a very exciting game. Let's see what I missed. It was my opponent to go first. Horrendous rack. He changed. This was my rack. Oxtail. There was a play which got the X doubled, so that was the play. I missed that. And got 22 points less. So Oxtail definitely better. My opponent's rack, he plays irons, and that gives me Arietas and Aristate. Opponent plays Zoo. I have a horrible rack. I change, and I like changing. 23 points retaining UUW. Not good enough. So I like the change. Opponent plays Ayuri. And I then have R-ing, which I like. That looks pretty good for my opponent. Quite a few bingos there. He doesn't see any of them. My rack. And I play Hauled for 30. And Hailed also available for the same score. And Healed, but they retain the U, so Hauled better. Opponent plays Stow. This was a rack I struggled with. Couldn't find anything great with the J, and G-ing a little surprisingly is top of the shop. Opponent plays Vita. Now Caged I thought about, and in the end went for Cage. No, I went for Side. Yeah, Cage probably a better play. But anyway, I sacrificed a ton of points to avoid opening row O. But as it stands, my opponent couldn't have taken advantage. He changed. I have a lot of vowels. Aurori, that looks nice. Oh, wow, through the U. Very nice. Keeping a go. Arga, A12. Yep, also quite nice. And what I did was Raga, which scores a little less than some of these other suggestions, but it does have some strategic merit in obstructing the floating T. And my opponent does have the blank at this point. He's got Pennant. Nowhere for it. Plays Nep. And Loamed is good, and I like that play, although Jumela possibly better. However, the Q is still out there, so keeping the U isn't as bad a move as it is earlier on in the game. Opponent does have a couple of bingos here. Wow, fabulous overlap. Beginning here of Stond. He plays on, and I have Bolitas, which is the only playable bingo, so delighted to have spotted that. Opponent comes straight back with Connoted. And I play Vibe for 26. Yeah, I don't like keeping Q and V. And, well, the other moves are fairly comparable. Yeah, playing at L1 isn't good with column 1 available. Opponent plays weak. And at this point, I'm 30 points ahead. I've got the blank. I'm looking at the bag's empty. I can see what my opponent's got. I'm looking to go out in 2. I couldn't see a way of doing that. And nothing is being offered for the Q apart from the Eye of Side. Yeah, none of these rack leaves are out in 2 rack leaves. Opponent plays GIF. Oh, I didn't think about the Zaire for 26, keeping However, I think ERE for just 4 fewer points and retaining the blank is a better play. Now my opponent plays far, and finally, L6. Where have I missed that? Oh, wow, look at that, coming down column 6, making cider T and R. That would have certainly been the play. BRR also playable. And I went out with Rort for 3, so a few points dropped at the end, but it didn't matter. The game was won. So a pretty exciting game. I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I will see you next time.